Hello, students. This is Dr. Johnson. Um, I just want to talk a little bit about research ethics because I know in our discussion this week that you are talking about ethics and research and what that entails. So I just want to talk a little bit about it before the week starts. So, in research ethics, many or even most ethical codes that cover some of this, we're going to discuss that. But it's more about the issues that arise when the research that is being conducted involves human or animal subjects. So, it's important that some of the codes, and we're going to talk about them, is being adhered to. Also, another thing that it's not just about human and animal subjects about ethics, it's also importance of publishing the findings in a transparent way. And what I mean by that is, not to make up things. So if you have data, but it doesn't fit your hypotheses and some people would just make it up. So that is unethical. And another thing that, especially with students, you know, it's plagiarism. It's important of you can take somebody's work, summarize it, but give them credit, right? Again, it's one of those things that can get you in trouble and mess up your reputation as a researcher. So again, give credit where credit is due, and also not falsifying work. I already mentioned that the importance of being transparent. So even if it turns out not the way you want it, it needs to be reported anyway, right? Or else the credibility of the research will come into question. So some of the codes that you might see out there that ethics committees look for is honesty and integrity. That means you need to report your research honestly, and this applies to also your methods, what you did, and your data and your results, and whether you as a researcher have previously published any of the information. You should not make up any data. And even if, like I mentioned before, even if it doesn't fit, don't make it up because it will mislead and will cause you not to be, for your work to be thrown out. So it's better to undersell than to over exaggerate your findings. Um, Always, if you're working with other people, always keep the agreement, keep up with any agreement, and always act sincere. I will always be honest because it will come back to bite. Be objective, so avoid bias in any aspect of your research, and that includes in the design, in the analysis, in the interpretation, and even in your peer review. So, for example, you should never recommend um, your somebody you know as a peer review, because then there will be bias in it, because they tend to do things to also suit you, right? So it shouldn't be somebody that will not contribute to the credibility of the research. Um, and also another thing that goes with objectivity is that you should ensure that you that your you you do not disclose any personal or financial that you need to disclose any financial interest or any personal interest that may affect your research, because then that will contribute to the bias of the research. So as you're reading other people's research or doing your own, look for that. Okay, that they don't have any other. Because think about it: if you have, let's say, research for COVID, and you're the president of the company, and you decide to do a research on COVID, the chances that you're going to make it favorable to your company. So you may not put all the adverse effects or disclose it. Hence, you're going to end up hurting more people. So importance of saying, look, I'm doing this research, but by the way, I am the president of the company, or I have some financial interest in the company. Um, and also, when you're doing the research, try not to knowingly exclude any group, because you might that because if you do that, if you know that any group will affect your data, so you exclude them, that's not fair, right? So to always be fair and objective. So take care in avoiding careless mistakes. And you should review the work thoroughly and carefully and critically to ensure that the results are credible. So keep full records of the research, ask a peer reviewer to review it, and take the time to do the job efficiently. Be open. Be prepared to share the data and the results with any other tools that you develop, especially when you publish the finding. This helps to further the knowledge in that issue or the phenomenon, right? And also to advance the science of that research. So be open to criticism. Not everybody will agree with your research, so they may criticize it and also criticize the new ideas. That's fine. That's part of being a researcher. Protect and respect intellectual properties. So never plagiarize and never copy other people's work and try to pass them off as your own. And always ask for permission before using other people's tools and their methods or even their unpublished data and results. If you don't do that, it's plagiarism. And as students, you know what that means. If you plagiarize somebody else's work and you're caught, they may kick you out of school. So think about it. If you're a researcher and you do that, it messes up with your integrity. It messes up with um, your work as a researcher in the academic world or in the science world or wherever you are publishing that data or that research. So nobody will ever trust you again. So if you if, so you need to respect copyright, you need to respect patents, you need to acknowledge contributions to the research, and if in doubt, just you know mention it. So that's the importance of referencing bibliography and all that. You should respect any confidentiality is very important in research. So you should respect anything that has been provided in confidence. You should also follow guidelines to protect the sensitive information, such as patients' information, any data that may disclose HIPAA information or about patients or other people. So if one of your test subjects come and tell you something in confidence that you know that may jeopardize um, their well-being, or even not forget about well-being, that it would jeopardize them in the sense of somebody like social security number or date of birth and all that, should be the researcher should make every effort to make sure that those information is secure. So maybe storing the information in a secure folder with password on their computer. Um, so there are different ways you can secure information of um, the sample or that you're getting data from. You should Any researcher should publish their work, right? So, or if they want to, but let's say they publish their work, they should publish to advance the state of research and knowledge, and not just to advance their career. So, some people just publish to advance career or whatever. Again, that's unethical. When you're doing research, you're looking for new evidence, new things to support or to inform or to make previous information um, for people to understand it well. So it's not just to advance career; it's also to advance the research and the knowledge. So, not publish it means that you should not publish anything that is not new, right? And that duplicates somebody else's work. You should try to aim for something new that will give a new um, lens to the issue or the phenomenon that is being researched. Another thing is legality, that always be aware of the laws and regulation that governs the work or the research and to conform to them. So, if you're doing research and you want to do it on children in the hospital, again, you have to follow the regulations that comes when you're dealing with this type of population. Children, they have guardians, they have rights. So you can't just start interviewing a child without getting permission from their guardian. And of course, you have to get permission from the hospital ethics committee first to even start the research. The same thing goes with animals too. If a researcher is using animals in their research, they should always be sure that the experiments that they will conduct on the animals are necessary and well designed. They should show respect to animals that they're using, and also make sure that these animals are properly cared for. They shouldn't be, just because they are test animals doesn't mean that they should be abused. For human subjects, the human subjects are protected. The researchers should make sure that they reduce any possible harm, or keep it to a minimum, and of course maximize the benefits both for the participants and for the other people involved. So that means that, you know, as a researcher, you shouldn't expose people to more tests that are necessary just because you're doing the research, so or to fulfill the aims of the research. um, the researcher, they should respect the human rights, and that includes the right to confidentiality, to privacy, to autonomy. They may take The researcher may take necessary care, especially when it comes to vulnerable groups like pregnant women, immigrants, people that don't speak English, minorities, um, and older people, or those with disabilities. So again, I gave you at the end of this, I gave you guys references where I got this information from, our textbook, and of course the article Resnick. Uh, Very good article. So you can go in and actually make sure, read up more before you answer the questions about ethics if the research. So when you're looking at a research, find out, did they actually go through these things that we talked about: human subject protection, animal care, um, responsible publication, that they're not just publishing to advance their career, that they're publishing to add more new knowledge to the research of the cause, that they're open, that they're careful, especially when they're not making mistakes, that they're transparent, that they're objective, and the most important thing, that they're honest, and that they are honest with the findings of the research. Okay, I will see you guys in class. Thank you.